Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Join me today as I travel to London and we will explore the haunted locations of the Tower of London. So let's look at the map of the Tower of London before we're starting the tour. So we're entering that area, the Old Drawbridge, and then we're also visiting the Royal Jewels and St. Thomas Tower and the Traitor Gate. Or Traitor's Gate, wherein traitors to the kingdom go there by boat and enter the tower and never seen again. And the Tower of London, the oldest part of the fortress or castle, or the White Tower, and the Chapel Royale. So in this tour, we're going to explore the haunted locations and Salt Tower, which is where an English Catholic saint was imprisoned once. So we're starting our tour here at the London Bridge. So this is the new London Bridge, the old one, which was famous in the nursery rhyme, London Bridge is falling down, has indeed fallen a long time ago, and it's replaced by that brutal minimalist type of architecture in the early or mid 1900s. And the bridge that we're looking at right now is the Tower Bridge, and we often mistake it as the London Bridge. And so if the London Bridge and Tower of London is just located beside the River Thames, and that's where we're going. So going back to the video that we're looking right now, you're looking at the HMS Belfast. The HMS Belfast is a museum ship managed by the Imperial War Museum. And the reason why it's a museum ship, it's because this ship was instrumental in sinking the flagship of the German Navy, which is the Scharnhorst. With aids of some ships, she was able to sink a formidable battleship, being only a cruiser. But she mainly did the battle or the fight, and they were able to sink a battleship of the German Navy. So don't confuse the Scharnhorst from the Bismarck. The Bismarck is was built later. So it precedes the Scharnhorst. So the Scharnhorst existed or built first before the Bismarck. Okay, so we're entering now the Tower of London. When I showed you the map, yeah, this is where the main drawbridge was. And a snapshot of the lion, the royal menagerie back then. But right now, the animals are now in the London Zoo. But way back in the Victorian era and several decades before that, the exotic animals of the royal menagerie was placed in the Tower of London, and it is open to the public for a pay, of course, so that they can see the royal menagerie. So this is a snapshot of the moat, which was a form of fortification which has already been drained. But back then, water from the River Thames was diverted here to serve as a barrier or an additional fortification. And just a snapshot of the London skyline, the shards at our background. So back then, there would be like a wooden drawbridge here, which was now replaced by concrete since there's no need of that. So that's the beef eater, the guard in the Tower of London, which is a member of Her Majesty's Armed Forces. So we are now proceeding to the St. Thomas Tower. The St. Thomas Tower is actually a medieval palace. Don't expect too much because it turns out that the medieval palace of England during the 1200, it's quite rough. Unlike the Versailles, the Louvre, it's not like that. So this video, or the image that we're looking at, is called the Traitor's Gate. So the Traitor's Gate is directly connected to the River Thames. So this was called the Traitor's Gate because most of the enemy of the regime or the monarchs or the state that was sent to the Tower of London, like Queen Anne Boleyn, she was arrested in Hampton Court, brought here by a barge, and she entered this gate and she was never seen again. So that's called the Traitor's Gate. And this is the view inside the St. Thomas Tower, or the medieval palace. So this would be where Henry III, so don't confuse it with Henry VIII. So this is a monarch before him. Henry III, Henry IV, they would have lived here and their entourage and court. I don't know why they chose not to live in the main White Tower. They might have been scared because there's already a ghost way back then. We do not really know. So it's not really grand if you look at it. So this is the chapel of the palace, the medieval palace of the king. And this area was called St. Thomas Tower. It's because when they were building this, it collapsed a couple of times, and it's only when they dedicated it to St. Thomas Becket, who appeared in the spot, it stopped from collapsing. So right now, we're here at the medieval throne room, and this is also a haunted spot. So some guards are claiming that if you will be here, unfortunately here, present in this area at 12 midnight, Henry IV, who was murdered here, will appear to you, as some guards here have claimed. So I'll show you where they believe Henry VI, I'll correct myself, Henry VI was murdered. So just research who Henry VI is, but he's an English king. So he was murdered at his chapel in this area in 1471. So I'll show you his private chapel. It's not far, it's just within his throne room. So this is the old throne room. It's not really grand in today if you will compare it to Versailles. So this is the chapel where Henry VI was murdered. Right there at the altar. And it is claimed that his ghost appears here during the midnight. And he haunts this place. God bless his soul. So, you don't want to be here at midnight, if possible. Because Henry VI might appear to you where he was murdered. But overall, the tower has experienced violence throughout its history. And almost every spot of the tower has seen some death. But when I was there, present, I did not really feel anything. I think Henry VI might have moved on. That's just my hunch. I did not really feel anything. And if you will look at the screen or the video, it's it's bright. It's not gloomy. Unlike the other areas, which I'm going to show you guys. So please hang on. So this is just a photo showing the ravens in the Tower of London. So there was a prophecy saying that when the last ravens will leave the Tower of London, the kingdom will fall. So what they did is, there's two ravens there, or there are several ravens whose wings were clipped and chained, so they can't leave the tower. So there. Let me just check if I did zoom them in the video. I think not. But yeah, those were the posters mentioning about the ravens in the Tower of London. So if you can see there, that's the Tower Bridge. It's just near the Tower of London. So if you plan to visit the Tower Bridge, because it's a landmark here, which is also mistaken as the London Bridge, you can also visit the Tower of London or have your picture taken outside the Tower of London, so you will not pay the fee. And this is the Salt Tower. So the Salt Tower is also a place where high-profile prisoners were imprisoned. So one is a saint, and he's known by the name of Saint Let me just have a look at my notes. Okay, so it's also shown there in some of the posters that one of the prisoners there was an English Catholic saint, a martyr, Saint Henry Walpole. So Saint Henry Walpole was imprisoned there, and those are the graffitis showing that some of the prisoners that was there that they carved. And So we're going now to the main square, to the White Tower. So we are now at the main square, and you can see there the White Tower. So this grounds here, so that's the place where the crown jewels are being stored. And this is the line, a long line of people wanting to see the crown jewels. And next time in our next video, so please watch out, we'll be going to see and have a closer look of the crown jewels, and we'll try to explore the history of the crown jewels. So let's go back to our topic. So this whole area, it is said to be haunted by Lady Jane Grey. So Lady Jane Grey is called the 9 Days Queen because she became a queen for only 9 days, and she was eventually executed in these grounds by her cousin Bloody Mary, Queen Mary. And it is said that she's roaming looking for something around these grounds. They said she might be looking for her head. And another haunted spot where they discovered a skeleton of two boys, two young boys, is this area. And this is haunted by, they said, that two princes that were an heir to the throne, and they just went missing with their uncle who was their guardian and who became king because the two princes, heir to the throne, went missing. So they are seen here, they said, playing, the two boys playing. And I tried getting a video of the inside. We'll do that in the future, but my camera went out of battery even if I've charged it. So I don't know. So we're only able to capture a video of the dungeon, which is quite gloomy, right? I don't know the settings, if it's in the camera settings, but we have videoed other areas and it's not as gloomy as that. So this is the dungeon, and you remember the gunpowder plot, and if you remember the movie Vendetta, there's a saying there, remember the 5th of November. So it came from the event of the gunpowder plot, wherein Guy Fawkes was one of the conspirator to blow up King James the First. So, and the Parliament. So he was tortured in this dungeon, and he is said to be hunting, and his screams can be heard at times in that dungeon. Guy Fawkes, they said. So we have exited the dungeon now, and that's the royal treasury where the crown jewels are, and the people are still lining. And we're having a quick look at the White Tower. So I really hope in the future I can get a video of the inside, because there are certain events that happen there and some hauntings or haunted areas that we will discuss. It just my phone just ran out of juice, and there's a line going back there. So it's just a sneak peek of the guards and the cannons, the antique guns that were here. It turns out it's not made out of iron, it's made out of bronze. And yeah, that's one of the guards, quite young. So that's the Tower Green. And most of the high profile people, nobles, close to the king that have, and also the queens that have lost favor and fell out of grace and were executed. Mostly the most brutal executions that happened here were during the reign of Henry VIII and her daughters, Mary the First, Bloody Mary, and Elizabeth the First. So Sir Walter Raleigh, a privateer, it's a posh word for pirate. So he was also an explorer slash pirate, or in the posh term, privateer. He was commissioned to hijack Spanish galleons and bringing silver from the Americas, and it helped England financially. So this is the front of the Tower Green where the execution site is of. It's sure that Anne Boleyn was executed here, and St. Thomas More, they said, was executed there as well. Sir Walter Raleigh. And also Catherine Howard, one of King Henry VIII's wives, which he also accused of adultery and incest. So right now we're going into the haunted Chapel Royal, or St. Peter ad Vincula Chapel. So in this, if you can see the outside video, it's quite clear and bright. And if you can just imagine the sorrow of the people who were executed in this area, and Henry VIII, Elizabeth I walked also in this chapel. So in this chapel, they said that Anne Boleyn is haunting, and it was seen by soldiers, and one significant event happened. So the guard stopped me from taking a video, but we managed to, and they were looking at me, but yeah, we managed to pursue someone to let us take the video. So Anne Boleyn is buried in the altar, and according to a soldier who was on duty in the middle of the night, there was a light emitting from the chapel, and when he looked and peeped on the window, he saw knights, and he also saw a headless lady holding her head, and she said he thinks, and he was very frightened, he thinks that it's Anne Boleyn, because her body was discovered underneath the altar inside an arrow chest, holding her head on her breast, because the coffin was very small. It was a rush burial. And if you will notice, I did not do anything to the camera, but the light, it's there's a fog or a mist, and it seems gloomy, you know. You can see the light. It might just be the stained glass. I don't know. So this is where Anne Boleyn, the mother of Elizabeth I, is hunting. And thank you for watching, and please watch out for my next video, which we will be visiting the inside of the tower, the White Tower. And please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.